A former adult film star facing the rest of her life in prison for her ex's murder hopes a jury will see that she's innocent.
But I didn't do this, and I didn't know this would end up like this.
But prosecutors say she's the only one with motive to carry out this chilling crime.
This is the future that she saw, that she wanted, and the only way to have that future was with John out of the picture.
This is Inside the Crime, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner. Hey, by the way, there's a reason Law&Crime is the go-to spot for true crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have more than 1,000 attorneys and have recovered $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. And in Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million, 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/insidethecrime. Click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen. Part of what makes this case so interesting is that it wasn't even supposed to go in front of a jury. Devyn Michaels was all set to plead guilty. Then in a dramatic hearing, she said she didn't do it. So the judge granted her a trial that already has a lot of people talking.
I just told one thing after another, and I truly believed that we were going to do the right thing, and it just didn't happen.
Normally when we see a plea change, it's from not guilty to guilty, sometimes no contest. But in Devyn Michaels' case, literally within the final hour, she told her attorney she can't accept a plea for second-degree murder.
I keep listening to what everyone tells me is the best thing to do. Just do this and it'll work out this way, and follow this advice and we'll do this. And I keep listening to the people because they keep saying this is the best advice. It doesn't turn out the way they tell me it will.
Devyn Michaels is accused of a very brutal crime. Prosecutors say in August of 2023, Devyn killed and decapitated the father of her own children. On August 7th of 2023, Jonathon Willette's mom called police after discovering his body. That call was played for a Vegas jury when the case went to trial this week.
Okay, I went downstairs and my son is on the bed and oh bloody. I opened the cover. It's all bloody. I don't know. Can you come over?
Yeah, we're coming help you. What happened to him, you know?
I have no idea. And those were the outside this morning.
Is he awake now? Is he awake?
I think he's dead.
Listen to me, I already have a calling for help, okay? How old is your son?
About 46 seconds.
Is he breathing?
Oh, bloody all over.
Where's he bleeding from, him?
I don't know, from the egg or something.
Do you see any weapons around him?
No.
Will he have harmed himself? Can you tell?
What?
Did he look like he hurt himself at all? Like, maybe shot himself?
No idea. Those was on the yard. I told him, I didn't know he's trying to move out from my house.
Okay.
And his girlfriend was here yesterday.
Okay. When's the last time you saw him? Yeah, when's the last time you saw him okay? How long ago?
Last night.
Last night?
Yeah. I think somebody has come to eat.
It was a horrible scene for any mom to discover. Jonathon's head was missing, and near his body were bottles of bleach and ammonia, which investigators say were applied to his body. Why would Devyn want him dead, though? Well, prosecutors claim Devyn had motive, a nasty custody dispute, but also another disturbing reason, too.
There was a custody agreement that was ordered by the family court in which the victim had full physical custody of the girls. You will learn that the defendant was not happy about that situation, that the defendant wanted to have control of her girls, and she wanted to start a new life with Devyn, the same Devyn that is John's son. The items that weren't found are what was particularly notable for the investigators. They didn't find a murder weapon. They didn't find whatever this person used to cut his head off. They did not find his head. They did not find his wallet. They did not find his truck keys, and they did not find his phone. They interviewed Yoko, and the gentleman above Yoko's photo is Yoshida, her partner. According to Yoko and Yoshida, the defendant, who they referred to as Nikki and knew as Nikki, ultimately identified as Devyn Michaels, was the last person to see Jonathon alive. Nikki and John had been moving the girls and John's items from this Paladura address to Nikki's address on Porcupine Rim that she shared with Devier, and for a temporary period over the summer, the young girls. They learned that Nikki and John returned to this address, the Paladura address, for the last time at 10 p.m. on August 6th, or around 10 p.m. They learned from Yoko that about 1 a.m. she was going downstairs for a glass of water and ran into the defendant, who she will describe to you when you hear from her as she appeared to be startled to see me. The defendant and Yoko have a conversation. It's relatively brief. Yoko's in the kitchen cleaning up some dishes. The defendant has now entered the kitchen, and they begin to talk when the defendant tells Yoko, "John's asleep. Don't go in there." Those aren't her words. You'll hear this through the course of the trial. She says, "John's asleep. He's passed out. We have plans for him to move some more stuff in the morning. Kind of don't bother him kind of thing." Yoko then noticed that the lights were on in John's room, but decided, hey, if he's asleep, I'm not going to go in there. She returns back upstairs. Yoko went to sleep, leaving Nikki, or the defendant, alone in the home. You will learn very clearly that there were only 4 people in the home at the time of this incident: the victim, the defendant, Yoko, and Yoshida. Yoko also will tell you that around 8 a.m. she found John without a face. You probably heard from the 911 call, there's a bit of a language barrier. She'll do her best to describe what she initially saw and the shock, obviously, that ensued. Very importantly, they find the defendant's purse. Inside her purse, they find the victim's Social Security card, along with one of her work cards. This is the defendant's bedroom. What I've circled there is basically her underwear drawer. When you execute a search warrant, you go through everything. You basically toss the place, and when they were searching the defendant's underwear drawer, they found something. My mouse is freezing on me here. Very important. They find several layers of knotted plastic bags, and inside they find the victim's wallet, current identification, and his only set of truck keys.
Devyn claims she had no idea how Jonathon's personal items ended up in her home, and she kept changing her story on how the bloodstains ended up on his phone. She stuck with that story for so long, but investigators found surveillance video of her with Jonathon on the day he was murdered. Investigators had enough to arrest her. During one of her post-arrest interviews, she admitted to striking him over the head with a large wooden stick, and he went limp.
John was lying on his stomach, not a threat, in the midst of a massage, face down, unexpected, and the defendant admits that she returned to the bed, bashed him over the head with that club or stick, and that John went limp at that time. You will learn that the defendant refused to acknowledge what she did next. You can make your determination as to why someone might do that as this trial goes on. That she refused to tell detectives what she did with John's head or with the weapon. That those items were never recovered. And so you need to put together the pieces, as the judge just described with the rain example. You will learn that this is the reality of the situation before John was killed, and that the defendant wanted John out of the picture.
During the defense's openings, Devyn's attorney claimed she wasn't responsible. It was actually someone else.
DeVry's interviewed the day of August 7th, 2023. And at the beginning of his interview, he admits that he's been drinking. He claims that upon hearing of his father's death, he'd got his drink on. But what's telling through the course of what he says and what he doesn't say, he's asked, and again, at first, and you can't blame the detectives, they're trying to do the best they can with a fairly complex situation. They're trying to get a feeling of the root of the relationships between the parties. I mean, you've got Jonathon Willette, who's dead. You've got Devyn, the son that's living with the defendant now in this case, Devyn Michaels, and they're trying to grasp what's really going on. What's going on behind closed doors. They struggle in each of the interviews, both with Devyn and with Devyn, to get a feeling of what's going on. Like, what are the relationships? And they're misled time and time again by all parties. In this interview, the first of which that Devyn has, they're trying to get a handle on this idea of this marriage and the relationship. And they ask him, but you're saying that you guys are married more out of convenience, not like you guys actually love each other. His response, yeah, we don't. It's not like that. It's out of convenience. But you guys sleep in the same room? His response, no. He's asked here, they're at the home. His response, no. Are you guys intimate at all? His response, no. Devyn is being asked questions who, by the way, you will be hated. And he's lying about the relationship that he has with his wife. There was some discussion concerning phones, and I'll tell you any more in this modern society. These are the key of most investigations. In fact, the statement said that's why the Devyn was ruled out. The location data on the phone didn't track that night to the Paladera residence. That's easily solved. It's easily explained. It was left home. That's it. There are other cases that have been of some notoriety that happens. People know now. They track you on your phones. You're going to learn that Devyn knew this and the importance and the significance of this clue to this hidden secret. This marriage of convenience is belied by the facts. You have to ask yourself, as these facts unfold, why is Devyn covering for Devyn? And why is Devyn covering for Devyn? He's a big guy, like his dad. His dad, 6'4", 205 pounds. We had spoken yesterday. Devyn Michaels was in the porn industry. She's not on trial for morality. She's on trial for murder. She had AKAs given her line of work. Devyn was into that. He knew that. He appreciated that. He pursued that. And this illicit relationship began before the relationship had ended with his father. It was done behind his back. Text between Devyn and Devyn. See, notice the photo? It's that same photo I showed you. 19-year-old, he's now 20. Girl you had mesmerized last night. You don't have to change a thing. Like that night was hands down the most sensational feeling I've ever felt since I lost my virginity.
So the prosecution claims it was Devyn who killed Jonathon, but the defense claims it was Devyn. Devyn did take the stand on the second day of trial, appearing very soft-spoken while testifying against Devyn.
Did there come a point in time when you were introduced to a woman by the name of Nikki?
Yes, sir.
And ultimately, you end up getting married to Nikki.
Yes, sir.
And we have a lot to unpack here. I'm sorry to air your dirty laundry, but we have to ask a lot of questions about this, okay?
Okay.
When you first met Nikki, was she dating or in a relationship with your dad?
They were dating at the time.
They were dating at the time?
Yes, sir.
Where were they living at the time, if you know?
I don't remember.
When your dad and Nikki were together, did they eventually have children?
Yes, sir.
And is that your two sisters?
Yes, sir.
Eventually, after the girls are born, do you and Nikki enter into an intimate relationship?
Yes, sir.
About how old were you at that time?
19.
19 years old?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how old she was at the time?
No, sir.
How was it that that relationship kind of started?
I don't know.
Do you remember who kind of, I don't mean to be crass, but like who made the first move or any of that?
I don't remember.
Okay, it was a long time ago, right?
Yes, sir.
While you were intimate with Nikki initially, was she still dating your dad? Or in a relationship with your dad?
Yes, sir.
Does it embarrass you to admit that in front of a bunch of strangers?
Yes, sir.
Was there some kind of discussion with Nikki at that time about being pregnant?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
I moved back to California, and I was told that she was pregnant with my child, and if I didn't move back, she was going to have that child.
So she tells you this?
She told me that.
So you had gotten out of the situation back in Cali, and you, I presume, talked to her over the phone or something?
Yes, sir.
She tells you she's pregnant, it's yours, and unless you come back, she is going to have the child.
Yes, sir.
What did you do in response to that?
I moved back.
Did you witness her go to a doctor?
No, sir.
Did she tell you anything about that child she claimed was yours?
She told me that she had gotten an abortion.
But you never saw any documentation or...
No, sir.
Do you remember when you woke up the next morning?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
Around 6 a.m.
Tell the jury how that morning progressed.
I woke up around 6 a.m. and I got ready for work. I'm usually the first one that's up, so I got dressed and I went to work.
Do you remember seeing Nikki or the girls or anything that morning after you woke up?
No, sir.
Okay. And do you remember where your job was that day by chance?
I worked at Hometronics, so I was all over the place in Las Vegas.
Okay. And would you, when you're working, do you drive the, work van?
Yes, sir.
When you're on your off days, do you drive the work van or the car?
The car.
Okay. So on this day, can we presume that you're driving the work van if you're doing a job?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I believe you said you work normally around 8:30.
Yes, sir.
At some point in time, do you get a phone call?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
It was a phone call from my grandfather saying that my father was critically injured and he's in the hospital.
Okay. Okay. When your grandfather tells you that, what do?
I proceeded to call my boss to take off of work.
And did you learn a little more information from another family member after that?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
That he had passed away, and I didn't get any information on how he actually passed away. It was just that he passed.
Okay. So initially, the first call, critically injured, but you tell your work, hey, I got to go. You learn after that he's passed.
Yes, sir.
When you, well, I guess where do you go from work?
Straight home.
What do you do when you go home?
Started drinking.
Okay. Did you drink back then?
Yes, sir.
What do you remember before you started drinking? if the girls or Nikki were home when you arrived home?
No, sir.
You don't remember, or they were not?
They weren't home.
They were not home?
No.
Okay. When is it, if you remember, that you learned she's arrested for the murder of your dad?
I want to say a week afterwards, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. So somewhere in the range of a week or 2 weeks after the actual death.
Yes, sir.
In the interim, before she gets arrested and after your dad's death, do you remain at Porcupine Rim?
Yes, sir.
Do you question what happened to your dad?
Yes, sir.
Are there a lot of kind of unanswered questions you have during that time frame?
Yes, sir.
Did there come a point in time after her arrest that she contacted you from the detention center?
Yes, sir.
And Judge, we would move to admit 631, which is a recording of that contact.
An incarcerated individual has entered the detention center. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Why the... What would you like to talk about?
They won't tell me anything.
There's some news about you, and they're not very pleasant.
I was told they're holding me here while they look for evidence. Because they don't have any. They have no murder weapon, no motive, no nothing. They're holding me here to find it.
You should have at least started.
What?
You sound like you should have been released already.
I haven't gone to court yet. I go to court tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'm not even going to California.
Okay.
CPS with the girls. With my grandfather. Are you getting fingerprinted so they can go with him and we might go with your grandparents? So will you get released tomorrow?
I should. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's literally what's going on. They have
Did you
absolutely,
ask what's going on?
yes, they have absolutely nothing on me. They showed me a picture of a bottle of soft scrub cleaning detergent, and they said, you have one in your house. And I'm like, okay. They're like, well, this was used at his house. Like, you're joking, right? Like, that's literally what they showed me.
Now, remember, the defense blatantly said in their openings it was Devyn who killed his dad, not Devyn, aka Nikki. So this was going to be a critical witness, especially for the defense.
You had testified today, fair to say, for the first time, that you had a relationship with your wife that went years back.
Yes, sir.
You'd been asked that by a lot of people, correct?
Yes, sir.
You'd been asked that before under oath, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you didn't tell the truth, did you? Sir, you were given copies of your prior statements in preparation for your testimony today, correct?
Yes, sir.
You were. You're a smart man, aren't you?
No, sir.
And you reviewed those copies of your statements in your testimony, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because you wanted to be prepared for today, correct?
No, sir.
I see.
Oh, sorry.
You would testify today that you learned of your father's death for the first time about 1 o'clock on August 7th, 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
You'd said, I believe it was your grandfather?
Yes, sir.
Now, you were interviewed by police just shortly after that, correct?
No, sir.
You were interviewed at 2:35 p.m. August 7th by a Detective Ozawa.
Yes, sir.
He came to ask about you, your wife, stuff what was going on in the house and at the other house, correct? The Paladera house.
Yes, sir.
He asked you how you got along with your father, and you told him we never really got along, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's a little bit different than what you testified to today, correct?
No, sir.
It's the same, or it's different?
It's the same. I worked with my father.
I'm sorry, in this low voice, you can speak up, please.
I worked with my father, so we bumped heads on a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that I didn't love my father.
Okay, but the question is, how do you guys get along? And your answer is, we never really got along, correct?
Only over work.
I'm sorry, sir, you have to speak up.
Only over work.
Only over work.
Yes, sir.
Well, it was just a few seconds after that that you said that you knew he was going to move in there, correct? And you didn't want to talk to him when he was at the house.
No, sir.
On August 6th. You don't recall telling the detective that? I mean, you have this transcript that I'm going to start referring to. You referred to it and you reviewed it before and to prepare for today's testimony, correct?
Yes, sir. I was told shortly after his death that he was going to move in. Then I didn't know prior to that.
Counsel, I'm referring to page 4. I'm sorry, I'll start on page 3. I did see him here when he was unloading everything into the garage, but I just didn't speak to him. You're asked, okay, is that you guys just don't get along or just? And then you stated, we never really did. And the detective says, okay. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you say, so not to cause any complications here, because I know he was going to move in here, I just didn't want to talk to him.
That was after the death.
But you're talking about, you saw him the day before, he's moving stuff in, and you're not going to talk to him because you know he's going to move in, and you guys don't get along. You were talking to the detective about what was going on in your head the day before, correct?
No, sir. I was told that they were moving a desk and a bunk bed into the house for the girls.
So when you're telling the detective on August 6th, I didn't go and talk to him because I never really got along with him, and I didn't want to cause any complications here because I know he was going to move in here. I just didn't want to talk to him. You're now under oath saying that meant something else?
No, sir. I'm answering the question. I was told after my father's death that he was going to move into the house, but I had no idea prior to that.
Fair to say that you were downplaying your feelings for your wife when this detective came to ask you about the murder of your father?
Yes, sir, because I didn't know what actually happened to my father.
Please say it again.
Yes, sir, because I didn't actually know what happened to my father.
Okay. But you're lying to the police officer about your relationship with your wife, correct?
Yes, sir.
This trial is only just beginning. The prosecution still has several witnesses they plan on calling. And of course, Law&Crime will be streaming the entire trial. It's unclear if Devyn Michaels herself will take the stand, but again, the stakes are super high. Her initial plea deal was for 15 years in prison. If a jury finds her guilty, she's facing the rest of her life in prison with no chance of parole. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner.